Welcome to the Checkpoint Church podcast. This is a show that helps nerds, geeks, and gamers feel seen, supported, connected, and spiritually supported because you do not have to explore faith alone. Today, we're going to be talking about our October clubs over on the Checkpoint Church Discord, Apocalypse Hotel, last week's nerdy sermon, and then what's the deal with All Saints Day? That's today, All Saints Sunday. All Saints Day being yesterday, but the day we kind of observe it in church as being today. What's the deal with that? Why do we talk about that? What does it mean? And what does it mean for us nerds? I'm glad you're here. I'm Nerd Pastor Nate. I'm a real life nerd, a real life pastor who loves to find Jesus in my favorite fandoms. And this is a space where we are tying together all of the different things that we do here at Checkpoint Church, the folks who make Checkpoint Church what it is, from Discord to YouTube, all across the gamut. We want you to be a part of the show. And we're glad that you are here. We're going to begin the show by introducing our two guests for this one. Who are going to share who they are and what they have been watching, playing, and reading to get us kicked off. And trombone, T-Bone, will kick us off.
Hey y'all, I'm T-Bone. I use they, them pronouns. Lately, I have been watching just a bunch of YouTube videos, especially like reading Reddit reaction, like that genre, and Hank Green videos. I have been playing Cozy Grove, Power Wash Simulator 1, and the Ghostly Acres demo. For reading, I am at a really weird place in that I only have one book on my shelf at the moment in Libby, and I don't know what to do with my life. But I recently finished Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil and Not My Type, which are both mature books with powerful messages. And over to DGC.
Hi, hello, I'm DGC, fellow level 2 member at Checkpoint, and recently I've been watching. I finished watching a Let's Play of Pokemon Legends ZA. Finished watching Watch for Anime Club. Finished watching season 1 of Big Zero. Watched the first 2 episodes of season 2 of Has-Been Hotel. Watched Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, watched Sinners, and watched Halloween streams, and basically just a bunch YouTube and streams. As for what I've been playing, I've been continuing getting through Trails of the Sky first chapter. I got through the first chapter and through some of the second chapter, and just continuing going through that. I haven't really been reading all that much lately, though.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fun. I need to start the new season of Has-Been Hotel for real. I didn't even know about it. Marlena actually was the one that messaged me earlier in the week.
And was like,
she was like, we need to do this Instagram because she had made the this Instagram for Has-Been a while ago. We were kind of keeping it in the back pocket, trying to figure out when to post it. And she was like, hey, season 2 drops tomorrow. And I was like, I'm sorry. What do you mean? I knew nothing about this. So that actually kind of worries me a little bit. I will say I'm going to watch it because I really enjoyed season 1 and I want to know what season 2 has in store. But it sure does seem to me like Amazon dropped the ball. They have not advertised it at all. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's just my perspective or maybe it's not showing up on my feed, but like, you'd think they'd be like putting it in front of our Has-Been Hotel video for all of the buzz that it had with that first season. Yeah,
sure. But yeah, it's off to a pretty good start. It actually addressed my issues I had in the first season.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm definitely looking forward to watching it. And T-Bone, I recognize pretty much everything you said except for Ghostly Acres. Tell me more about what that was.
So it's an idler. It is one of the hotel sim ones. It's nice though because it's kind of in that like pixely frame with it. And it took me a little bit to realize the direction mattered. And so you're filling up beds. But you're also having like water fountains and a soda machine and different things that you unlock throughout for your guests to actually use and make money. And then you have to keep it clean with the trash that they accumulate. And so it just clicks a lot of boxes for me, and I have put almost 4 hours into the demo because I've played it so many times.
Nice.
I just checked it out. It actually releases tomorrow for the full version, and so I'm excited about that.
Cool. Neat. Well, I'll have to check that one out. It does sound interesting. I have been doing much of the same that I'm used to as in the world of video games. I am continuing to dive deep into Pokemon Legends ZA. I think it's a fantastic game. I think the people that are knocking it are missing a really good Pokemon story. I will say that. I think it's been one of my favorites.
Agreed.
I think the characters are so good. I'm loving it. I love the Legends model so much. I think this game is not as good as Arceus, but it is good in a different way that it has made me like Arceus even more. Like now I'm like, I wish that the only thing that I think I like better about ZA is actually the like live action fighting. I think that if Arceus had done even more of it like this one did, I would like it. It would be my favorite Pokemon game for sure, because that's like the only advantage. I do like the way that Arceus did their wild zones a little bit better. And I think that I still loved the story and the characters. I liked the setting of Arceus so much more. But that being said, I will double down and say that everybody that keeps hating on the fact that it's in one city, I don't know what you're talking about. It feels like such a realized world. It is so dense. Like it feels like an urban city. I understand that the windows aren't 3D, but like there are a lot of buildings that you can go into. There are a lot of spaces that open up, especially like later in the game, you can open up different areas. So I don't know. I think it was a fantastic Pokemon game. I may or may not have already spent 50 hours playing it, but I would never confess that I've spent that much time playing Pokemon. I have officially finished all of the side quests, save for anything that's like the really grindy stuff. So I have now begun the extreme grindy Infinity part of the game, as well as the dreaded part of the Shiny Charm quest. So that's where we're at with my playthrough, and I may or may not just have to stop because I have too many games to play. Maybe I can try to squeeze it in between play sessions, but like my backlog is growing like crazy, and if I don't start playing some of the other games, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So that is what I've been playing, and I got a lot to play. I literally did not get to play Ghost of Glamping. Well, we're going to talk about it in a minute. I had to watch a Let's Play of it because I could not even spare 2 hours away from my beloved Pokemon. I had to watch it in the background. In the world of watching, in the world of watching, I have been catching up on a lot of anime. Since I've been playing so much Pokemon, I've been able to put on things in the background. And so I finally finished Ping Pong, which was one that we started for our anime club here at Checkpoint. I have decided that no one is ever going to vote for Magical Girl Raising Project. And so I had to just watch it myself. And I will actually say, I'm kind of glad that nobody ever chose it. It's fine with a capital F. It is like the most solid like 7 that I could have expected it to be. I went into it expecting like Madoka, and it is very clear the inspiration that it draws from Madoka, but it was not as good. It was a little bit of like a letdown with how it ended, and a lot of the moments in it like just felt, I don't know, something about it wasn't quite what it needed to be. But Ping Pong, on the other hand, exceptional. I think probably like my favorite bit of sports media ever, which is not saying much. I'm not a big fan of sports media in general, but like I think it was among the best I've ever seen. And then I've also officially started a shoot and order Let's Play because I don't think I'm ever going to get around to playing that one. We'll see. It is Kodaka produced, but like it's not Danganronpa enough, I think, to incentivize me to playing it. But I did learn something. For any of you that are curious about shoot and order and what it's about, the way that it works is it has like its intro part of the game, and there's been a murder because of course, and you are the one solving the murder, and you also have the power of God on your side, which is hilarious. But because of that, that means that whoever you choose to have done it is the one that did it. and then you begin to enter into their part of the game as to what could have gone to make it the reality that they did it. And so depending on who you choose, you go through a different genre of video game. So like if you pick one person, it's a Danganronpa style murder mystery. If you pick another person, it's a detective. If you pick another person, it's a horror game. Pick another, it's a romance visual novel. If you pick another, like it's 5 different people, 5 different play styles. And whoever you are, you're right. And I just think that's an interesting way of storytelling, as well as really good voice acting, especially if you're down for the sub. But yeah, Kodaka has a way of always creating things that I absolutely love, and this is one that I want to experience, but I just don't think I will have an opportunity to play it myself. So that's cool. And then reading, I got hooked, I think, on the past 2 weeks on The Summer Hikaru Died. Although I will probably go back and forth between Hikaru and Hikaru, because I always called it Hikaru no Go whenever I was growing up, because I was reading it instead of watching it. This is a really, really good, really, really good horror anime that I got obsessed with and started reading the manga. And now I am like, I need access to every chapter. Like I'm gonna have to see if I can subscribe to like a scan service or something to go and read like the latest fan translations, because that's how good this story is. I'm so hooked on it.
Oh dear.
I love it so much. I can't even really describe the show. It's very like When They Cry. It's very Higurashi When They Cry style. So like if you're a big fan of Ryukishio 7, like it's got some elements there that will be very familiar for people that enjoy that. It's a very small Japanese village that is centered around like one god. And so that's the element that they bring to the story, and I enjoyed that a good bit. And then I'm reading Lizzie McManus Deal's God Didn't Make Us to Hate Us. I am reading The Courage to Be Disliked, which is like an Adler style book written between like dialogue between a philosopher and a student, which was really interesting. And then one that I'm going to recommend to anybody and everybody that cares about the work that I do. If you like our nerdy sermons and you're like, what's the deal with those? The Well-Read Game is a like academic dissertation type book from MIT talking about how to play games thoughtfully, and hooked. Gotta watch it. Real fun. Or gotta read it, excuse me. It's real fun, real good, real deep, very, very academic style if you're down for that, but like it's super good. So yeah, let's see. We got some things going on in the chat as well. I know we need to get into our main club debrief segment and all that kind of stuff, but I want to make sure if you've been watching, playing, and reading anything you'd like to share it in the chat, let us know. But going quickly through, Lizzie is reading Nothing Much, maybe anti-book study, playing Google the Snake Game and Overwatch. Twyla is a Let's Play of No, I'm Not Human, and also watching Benicio del Toro's Frankenstein, which I've heard good things about. I'm going to skip that message from Lizzie. I have no idea what you mean by Wicked and Hamilton. Not sure what those words even mean. Twyla, yeah, talking more about Arceus. Drew finally getting around to Hades 2. I'm right there with you. I'm very much like the hoping to get around to Hades 2 eventually. Wisen's watching a World War II docuseries, playing college football, and absolutely dominating. Reading books for your academy that you leave for first session tomorrow. Cool. Marlena has been watching Real Housewives while cleaning. Vienna has been watching Coraline for Halloween, Chainsaw Man movie for the second time tomorrow, Skate Infinity anime, reading Black Clover manga, listening to Alien Stage Korean YouTube animated series soundtrack. Very cool. Lots of good stuff there. Do continue to let us know. We're going to get into the conversation that we are here to have, which is our club debrief. So in the month of October, and in every month, we have an anime, a book, a video game that we play together. The ones for October, our anime was Witch Watch. Our book was A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. And the video game was Duck Detective 2, The Ghost of Glamping. So let's start at the top. With Witch Watch and share any thoughts we might have had on that one. DGC, T-Bone, whoever would like to take the lead there. I know DGC has thoughts, so maybe we'll start there. DGC, what did you think about Witch Watch that you want to share with us?
I absolutely loved it. I did not expect to go into this this ended up being one of my new fixations. I absolutely loved it. And had we not been doing watch parties, I honestly, much like you, I would have binge watched the entire first season. This is really good.
Yeah.
And I actually did, and this honestly probably would have been on my watch list had I known that this series was actually originally made by the same author who did Astronauts in Space. Because I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, very different vibe than Astra, but yeah, it is interesting to see those connections. And yeah, I did. I binged it hard. The goal was to watch the first like half of season 1, like 12-ish episodes. And
Yeah.
I got started with it and I was like, this is really funny. And I really like putting it on the background
It
and
is
just kind of
hilarious.
zoning out.
There were so many times I was bursting out laughing, and like I had hard. There were times I was laughing so much that I had a hard time breathing. That's how funny some of the gags were.
Vanna also loved Witch Watch. Wacky, funny, and colorful indeed. Yeah. So for those that don't know the premise of the show, it is a kind of like rom-com-esque anime in which this girl goes off to witch school. The boy that she grew up with is a ogre, and it doesn't really show. The only way that you can tell that he is an ogre is that he has the little like hair point up on the top sometimes. And the witch comes back from school. There is some kind of foreboding, like essentially mark upon her of like she is going, something bad is going to happen in the next year or whatever. And so she ends up living with the ogre boy that she grew up with to protect her and be kind of her guardian during that time. Along the way, a couple other characters that are also wacky familiars end up joining the group. It doesn't really become like reverse harem anime in that way because it's very clear that like they have a very direct, like these are the two who are supposed to end up together kind of vibe. But it goes sometimes into some like questionable rom-com areas that are funny. But mostly it sticks around with this just like, I would call it like absurdist. I think it's almost just absurdist comedy for most of it. And I absolutely adored those episodes. There are a couple of times where one of the friends from school is like a fan artist online. And every now and again, they will start an episode with like a completely different cast of characters and art style. And it's actually like from the anime that they're drawing fan art of that their teacher is also obsessed with. And that threw me every time. Like literally both times, I think there's 2 episodes in season 1 that happens. And I like had to find out if I was on the right episode or something. Cause I was like, did I accidentally skip over to a different anime? Because this is totally unfamiliar. But yeah, it was an interesting one. And yeah, as Twyla says there, I did compare it to Bobobo, but I was very careful because it's not at all as extreme as Bobobo. But when they made jokes, the jokes were very Bobobo type jokes, like just the absolute nonsense, absurd type of humor. And a lot of like, I wish I knew the proper term for it, but like the characters themselves just got, I don't know what it is, but something about it felt very vibey with Bobobo in that way. Most moving bathroom related arc you've ever seen. I think there were parts of it that reminded me a lot of Haruhi Suzumiya. There were some vibes there as well, but the intro to English Books Duo was so good. That was the bit that I'd actually seen on TikTok before I even knew this was that anime. So super fun. I highly recommend it.
The English textbooks.
Yes, yeah. So there were these 2 characters that the way they speak is like literally like what you would learn in, grammar 101 school. And so they were speaking so perfectly and so grammatically correct, but also very, very simple. Yeah, it was good. T-Bone, did you get to catch Witch Watch or not this month? Not this month?
I did not.
Gotcha. Well, I do think you did get to read the book, which we can talk about next, which was, I keep forgetting the title, Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. I'm pretty sure is it. Tell us what did that do for you, T-Bone?
I loved it. I loved the previous book that we had by this author as well. And so I was really glad that we picked it for this month. I wrote down a few words to describe it, and then I have 2 quotes from it that I want to share. So self-care, burnout, former gifted kid, acceptance, compassion, and identity. I feel like really sums up what occurs in this book and the messages that stuck out to me. And then these 2 quotes I actually saved because they stuck out to me so much, and I have gone back and reflected over them multiple times since then because they still hit me just as hard. These are ones that made me go, oof, and like literally put my phone down because I was reading on my phone for a moment and just process it and be like, I need to save this. Unfurling your scorched feathers from the ashes and getting up again, growing, staying. That was the part that really mattered. So Sarah slept, woke, unfurled, and got up again. That really spoke to me with my own struggles with depression. And like, yeah, it's gonna happen. Like, bad stuff is going to happen. And you're gonna need to hunker down at times. But what do you do after that? And it's the pushing forward one step at a time and just doing those basic needs. And then the other one that really spoke to me as someone who struggles a lot with self-care and just being kind to myself and recognizing that I have value is, why do you find it so easy to be kind to me and so difficult to be kind to yourself? And so that one spoke to me a lot with things that I'm working on currently in therapy. And so I wanted to share those because they were just some really powerful moments from the book for me. And it was funny as well. Like, there were lots of comedic moments that made it okay to have these serious messages without it feeling like, oh my goodness, this book is a downer. Like, it was a hilarious book.
Yeah, it definitely had some goofy moments in there. Yeah, I think that that resonates a lot. I do think that another theme worth adding in is this kind of like argument that the book is making of a lot of the things that we need are there with us all along. Like if we'll just maybe like tune in and be a little bit more aware of the kind of already present, I'm hesitant to call them like blessings, but the already like pleasant reality around us and the things that are currently impacting us in positive ways or meant to serve us in a positive way. I found that to be a pretty moving part. And I don't want to spoil that part of the book for anybody that would like to still read this one, but there is like a reality, a pretty big twist in it where something that our main character is looking for has kind of been with her all along. As tropey as that sounds, and as tropey as that is, but it's still a good moment.
There were so many tropes throughout this book, but it was fine because they made sense and they're tropes for a reason.
That's
yeah,
good.
Did you have anything to add, DGC?
No, I have not read the book. So
okay, totally all right.
For those that did not get the chance to read it, that are curious about a quick like summation of what it is, you're following along with the events of Sarah Swan, who recently resurrected her great aunt, and in doing so, used such a tremendous amount of her magical force that she like mostly lost the ability to do anything magical at all, and did something that broke a rule and essentially got her exiled from her guild. And so a lot of this book has to do with like restoration in that way, either restoration of her character or her perceived character, or the choice that she's made, or maybe just like some judgmental nature from those outside of her space. And so, yeah, a lot of the things that T-Bone said, you can probably see where they attach to that concept. But if you're along for the ride of like a story of restoration with some fun characters, if you read A Secret Society of Irregular Witches and enjoyed that, very much more of the same. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Many elements of found family as well.
For sure. Which I feel like I remember that from Secret Society. I think that's something that this author does well.
Yes.
Which reminds me, I don't know how to pronounce it. I've always said TJ Klune. But if that's not how it's pronounced, it reminds me of that author.
Yeah.
So very much along those lines. If you enjoyed any of those books, which I personally think I do prefer them a little bit more, but I do like these nonetheless. But House of the Cerulean Sea will always be a important part of my bookshelf. Good stuff. All right, the last one is the game. Who played the game? I have officially now watched the game literally as of like 30 minutes ago. So it's very fresh on my mind. But I would love to hear what did y'all think about Duck Detective, The Ghost of Glamping?
I'll let DGC start.
All right. So much like you, Nate, I also watched Twilight, watched the Let's Play of it. I watched Twilight play through some of it while during one of our level 2 studio sessions, and I thought it was pretty good. As for someone who enjoys puzzle games and point and click stuff, it definitely seems like a game that's very much up my alley. It was very cute.
Yeah, it's
All right.
definitely a cute game. It's something that, like, if you're looking for like a major story, you're looking for something that's super deep, like you want a lot of action, like this is not the game for you. If you just want to like chill for 2 hours, have a little bit of like puzzle, mostly exploration, like some fun dialogue, this is the game for you. If you like puns, this is the game for you.
For sure.
For sure. And the game is very self-aware of itself. I think my biggest critique of it is it was all about the Ghost of Glamping, but it was really just a backdrop and it could have been any other theme. And I felt like the ghost was not utilized as well as it could have been.
I do agree, yes.
Yes. I think it was nice that I had played the first one already because there were little like Easter eggs that I found throughout that I was like, oh, this relates to this that I would not have been excited about otherwise. There is a post-credit scene if y'all have not played yet that is worth watching.
That was not in the Let's Play, so I'll have to find that.
Yeah, no, you gotta find that post-credit scene. I don't know if my VOD's still up or not because it was like beginning of this month that I played it. But I did play through the post-credit scene. And it was a fun time. There was nothing to the level of the safe from the last one.
Yeah.
Which was a puzzle that annoyed many of us. But it was a good time. I wish it was better executed. I'm curious to see what the next one will bring because based on the post-credit scene, without giving any spoilers, it hints that there will be another one coming. And so I am excited about that and how long the turnaround will be for that.
At least for the past 2 years, they've always released them in May. So I guess we should look for Duck Detective 3 in May of 2026. If we had to wager on that. I will say that I had good feelings about the first one. I enjoy the Case of the Golden Idol type mystery solving. And even though this one I did watch instead of actually like experience, I still think that's a fun mechanic to see in a much simpler light in this one. But I definitely agree that like this one did not feel quite as thorough or like thoughtfully done in regards to the twist. I didn't think that the twist was quite up to the first one's level, and I think that there are elements that now that they have kind of a cast of characters, like bringing back Fredersen, it was okay, but it was almost, I don't know, it didn't feel quite as fully realized from beginning to end for me, and a sentiment that I often think about games like this, where I always find myself referring to games that they remind me of, is like there are other games that do this game's job better. And that's an unfortunately harsh critique. But I think that for me, the first one felt more of a standout because it still had the novelty, and maybe that's what it was. Now that the novelty had worn out a little bit, I kind of got to see it a little bit more bare bones.
Yeah, Twyla mentioned that they added the map to it, which definitely reduced the clue hunt lag, and I wanted to make sure to point that out. Excellent comment.
Very good. Well, I would love to hear other thoughts if people have them, or what you might want to drop down for Duck Detective 2. It'll be very interesting to see if Duck Detective 3 brings about the same results for us, and if we end up playing it in June or whenever with the Button Bash Brigade. But we do this every month, y'all. We play a video game, we read a book, and we watch an anime together. And the Anime Club in particular literally meets and does that live. The book folks and the game playing folks, we kind of do a little bit more asynchronously. But we would love to have you join us over on our Discord server, !point Discord in the chat, discord.gg/checkpointchurch if you'd love to tune in into those spaces for the month of November, which just started. We're only on November 2nd. There's tons of time to get started with these. We're going to be watching the anime. I only wrote down Fragrant Flower, so I don't remember. Blooms with Dignity, I'm pretty sure, is the rest of the title. So the Fragrant Flower, Blooms with Dignity is the anime. The book that we're reading is Martyr with an exclamation point, which I have already started and am absolutely loving. The only thing that I will say to entice you, let's say maybe you're like, I'm not going to read this book. It doesn't look like my type. It is very much like going for the classic literature vibe, like a very much like a new classic type. I am only a couple chapters in, and there is a conversation that is had like hallucinogenically between a character's mother and Lisa Simpson from The Simpsons. So if that entices you at all to be like, what's this book about? You should pick up Martyr. It's real good, real well written. I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm on board for it. Obviously, the title itself is pretty provocative, along with the stories that it's trying to tell. The only content warning that I would offer for that one so far is if you love someone with an addiction, or if you yourself deal with addiction, just be aware that that is a heavy theme in this book. So if you're like, hey, maybe not for me, that is totally okay. But be aware that is a bit of a heavy weight upon the back of this one. But I think it's important to tell stories and explore them in that vein. So good stuff. And then the game for next month is Cat Quest 1, in particular, Cat Quest 1. So be sure to pick up that one and join us along with that playthrough. Hopefully, I will eventually be done with Pokemon and we'll actually pick that one up this month. My goal is certainly to play it, which, as I understand it, I believe that's the Zelda-like cat game. So it's like trying to go with the dungeon crawler-esque cat style.
I have played part of it, and then I had stepped away from it for a bit, and so this gives me an excuse to jump back into it.
Very nice. Very cool. Well, feel free to join us, folks, next month with any of those, Fragrant Flower, Martyr, or Cat Quest. And you can also join us for something exciting happening this week as we go to a quick ad here, and also announcement for many of you who may not be privy to this information. But this week, we are going to be having a Pixel Pilgrimage. If you don't know what a Pixel Pilgrimage is, that is a journey, a pilgrimage journey into a video game where we literally play through a game that is going to be this Friday. I'll say this date many more times during the video, but we're going to throw to this announcement, this breaking news here of what our Pixel Pilgrimage is this week. Again, this Friday. Enjoy this look and surprise. Were you afraid of the dark growing up? I was. And I had a light that I would always leave on that brought me a lot of comfort. This game that we're going to be playing for our next Pixel Pilgrimage is all about being that light. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a lighthouse, guiding, guarding, finding your own way throughout the dark? Well, on November 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern, we're going to be doing our next Pixel Pilgrimage through a game called Keeper. This is Double Fine's surreal, wordless adventure where you play as an animated lighthouse journeying with a tiny bird friend named Twig through a post-human world. No dialogue, no quest log, just light, shadow, and trust. We're going to illuminate paths, focus our beam to reshape the world, and protect Twig from the encroaching wither, a parasitic hunger that wants to swallow what's left of life. We're going to be streaming on our YouTube channel and Twitch channel starting at 11 a.m. Eastern, and we'll go until we finish the game. Expect probably a 4-hour experience. You should also expect reflective pauses, gentle journaling prompts, conversation about what it means to be a keeper of others, to let others keep you. How light reveals, heals, and sometimes asks us to wait, and then companionship when words aren't even available. Pixel Pilgrimage is for the spiritually curious. No pressure, no pop quiz, just good company and a meaningful playthrough as we journey into a video game. Bring a mug, a notebook, and of course, your favorite cozy emote. Again, that is November 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern over on our Checkpoint Church Twitch or YouTube channel. If you've been looking for a gentle light in a weird week, come travel with us. I'm Nerd Pastor Nate, and I'll see you in the beacon's glow. Were you afraid of... All right, there you have it. So that is a breaking news announcement of our next Pixel Pilgrimage through the game Keeper, Double Fine's latest random kind of sleeper hit that I don't think people were expecting. I certainly was not expecting it and was not expecting it to kind of pop off like it has. So hopefully you'll be able to join us this Friday. We're going to play through the whole thing starting Friday at 11 a.m. and going through... as much of the game as we can get through, hopefully finishing it. I think we're going to finish it. As I understand the game, I think that's about the right amount of time that it would take. So yeah, should be a ton of fun. Be sure to join us for that. If you have more questions about what a Pixel Pilgrimage is, just ask, but we're going to begin next. Just a quick little look. Every other week we create these nerdy sermons, and then every other week we create podcasts. And so a part of the podcast is talking about last week's, nerdy sermon, which was on an anime called Apocalypse Hotel, which was actually a previous month's anime club pick, one that was particularly good, especially with the final episode. In this anime, you follow along with an android, Yachio, who is caretaking over a hotel in a post-apocalyptic world where humanity either has died off due to a mysterious plague or taken off to space. It has been many, many years since any humans have showed up until one day somebody does show up. However, it is an alien, and Yachio quickly makes some adjustments to their code and decides that any guest is worth serving and does so. And then the climactic final episode that we spoil in the nerdy sermon itself is that eventually human does end up coming back. But because of all of the adventures that Yachio's had over the entire season, humanity coming back is a bit of a letdown. Doesn't end up being quite what Yachio wanted, and realized that it was actually the formation that happened over all of these various visitors, all of the achievements that they unlocked throughout the entire story. So it was a really fun thing to talk about. Not very often that you get to talk about like eschatological truths based off of anime. Not very often you get to talk about Jesus's second coming in an anime, and like, should that be something that we're so overhyped about? I will say I'd wish the anime was just 2 weeks earlier. There was a big kerfuffle about a potential end of times, which happens all too often in the kind of pseudo-Christian world. But there was a big thing that had just happened, and I wrote this nerdy sermon in light of that, but then it came out 2 weeks after because the world didn't end. But it was an interesting time to be writing that one and thinking about it. So yeah, any initial thoughts? I know T-Bone, you've only just heard the description here, DGC. I don't know. You watched Apocalypse Hotel with us, I believe, as well. So like, what wrestling, what thoughts did y'all have in the midst of it? As you're hearing it.
I feel like this kind of ties in it with what I in my recent sermon I had at church, where you talked about waiting on faith, because that kind of see that with Yachio, and seeing how she grows, and you feel like how you use her story as
Yeah, it's very fitting, very appropriate, and an important thing for us to think through and talk about whenever we think about our faith journeys. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of downtime. That's something that we don't often think about. And that's something that is like, especially the more you focus on the New Testament and the more you focus on like the writing of Paul, you're going to see a lot of like, it's happening so soon. Everything's about to be over and Jesus is coming back. Don't even get married. Don't even worry about life. Like, just do all you can to focus on the here and now because Jesus is coming back tomorrow. And like, we know like that's not how it goes. And so in the midst of all of this waiting that we're still doing, we have to ask our question of like, what does that actually mean? What do we do in the midst of this waiting? And what's the point of all of this? And so,
I think
yeah.
a lot of sorry. I think
No,
a
you're
lot of
good.
people forget that most of Jesus's ministry happened during mundane moments.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what was really important is what Jesus did in those mundane moments, how Jesus connected with others and why Jesus connected with others, and taking that time for self and connection with the Father. And that's something that I feel like we don't talk about enough. And this medium gives us a chance to open up a conversation further about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love any story that plays with time. Often that like finds itself in time travel. That's like the most frequent way. But this was kind of a unique one in the sense that you're experiencing the story of someone who is eternal. Like as long as their parts hold up, as long as their machinery keeps running, time passes in a very different way for them. And I think that's something that is a fun way to play with this concept that I think isn't as often done. And
You're
I
describing part
it.
of why I love Doctor Who and the regeneration
Right?
part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, like when people think about the Doctor, they probably think about the time travel, but not many people think as much about like the reality of the Doctor themselves being also a kind of time span continuum situation.
And that's something that the show addresses numerous times as well. But I'm going to save y'all by not going on a rant about how much I love Doctor Who, in case y'all didn't know that from my name and the fact that I'm currently curled up under a Doctor Who quilt right now.
I appreciate it.
Adorable.
Twyla's in the chat there, dropping some knowledge as well. Interesting to talk about waiting for the Lord versus generational cycles and passings on, which is a pivotal part of the anime. Indeed, which is actually like an interestingly Old Testament-y vibe. Like whenever we think about, or literally the kickoff, the start of our New Testament is with a genealogy. And so this is a reality of our faith, but it's not something that often gets like the qualitative songs sung about it. It's not often we think about the generations. We think about the passing on, and we think about the people in our past. Hey, what a perfect time for us to talk about what we're about to talk about. we're almost there. We're almost there. We're getting close. Twyla also dropped part of that wait, walk, mundanity involving what we leave and raise in others. Like I think Punko embodies on both sides. Punko is the Tanuki-like alien who shows up on episode 2 or 3, I think it is. I can't remember which one it is, but
It was episode 3.
yeah, ends up working for the hotel, and they're a really fun family and tell some interesting stories as well that Twyla's drawing up. Vanna's on your side. Doctor Who is amazing. They could probably hear more about it, T-Bone. But another time.
I'd be anytime.
The question for this video. So all of our nerdy sermons have a question at the very end of them. If you didn't know that, hey, I'm watching you. You're not watching to the end of my videos. Come on, bump our percentage up. Watch to the end, please. I need it. But the question of this video was, what is something that you have been anticipating and then it turned out to be a letdown, which I thought was kind of a bummer question, but an interesting one for us to at least explore. It did go to some dark places in the comments and in the responses. Some vibes of like adulthood. I think that All at Once is a dark response while also kind of a painfully real one. Like I think a lot about the idolization that we do whenever it comes to growing up, and then a reminder of the fact that it's just more life. All we have is more wisdom and more knowledge, but it's not anything hierarchical. We're all just still kids now in adult bodies trying to figure out what to do next. Twyla dropped a little bit about event coordination. Sometimes you put a lot of prep work into actually doing something, putting something together, and then whenever it gets here, it doesn't quite live up to what you wanted it to. Sierra talked about finding like either on Yelp or whatever reviews for restaurants, and you go and then it's bad service or bad food. I related to that one in my heart of hearts of like, yes, because I am a foodie, and anytime I get a bad experience with food. And then we had kind of a double down with Zando and Vanna in regards to college and dental school and the pressure that we put upon ourselves for our careers and our futures, and education being an important thing. Undeniably, I will vouch for education any chance that I get. But the way that we pursue it and the weight that we put on it can sometimes be a mixed bag, for sure. Yeah, I don't remember DGC or T-Bone. Do y'all have an answer to that you'd want to share? Something you've been anticipating that was a letdown?
Not really.
The first one that I thought of was extremely dark.
Hmm.
And it's just the fact of like, so I talk a lot about my own struggles with mental health. And sometimes you think that when you get to the bottom and you feel like you're at the end, that there will be this release. And there's not. And it's the realization that like, oh, we have to just keep living every single day, even when we don't want to. And that can feel like a huge letdown at times. But it's worth it to keep living every day, even when it's really hard. And so that was the first thing that came to mind. And I just wanted to include that positive on the end of it.
Yeah.
I could definitely relate to that.
It's interesting. I didn't necessarily expect this question to go down the lanes that it has gone. But we had some really interesting responses to it. I think that it's been a more intriguing question of the day, question of the video, than I'd expected it to be. Because I almost expected it to be like, oh, I'm going to Disney World or something like that. I was like, I didn't live up to the hype or whatever. But it's gone to be like, yeah, actually, it was becoming an adult. Whoa! Like, yeah, I totally get where people are coming from, and I think it's an important answer. But it got so much more real in ways that you can never expect, but that are so valuable. Very much appreciated it. Drew says also maybe a little dark, but waiting for a particular bad situation to be over isn't usually as simple as, oh yay, it's over. Yeah, the residuals of things that keep going and existing and forming us. Even if formation may be a dark place or a tough spot, it is still formation. Yeah. Fascinating stuff. Well, like I teased at just a moment ago, with Twyla's response about the people that kind of form us and lead us forward. We are going to talk for just a minute or two here about All Saints Day. So, like I said, that is technically yesterday. It's the day after Halloween, in which we talk about All Saints. And then this Sunday, the Sunday that is closest to All Saints, is typically known as All Saints Sunday. And this is kind of fortuitous timing, because I was literally just thinking about whenever we were doing our podcast planning, like, what can we do to talk about this? And we had a little idea to talk about some media that forms us in the form of All Saints. And like literally as I was dropping this idea into our Discord thread, friend of the show, Cozy T Pastor, dropped a Substack article called Remembering the Games That Changed Us. And I recommend anybody go check it out, because it is a reflection on Substack about All Saints Day, and talking about games that have kind of been a formative factor in our lives. So before that was just a kind of quick shout out. Y'all should go check out Cozy T Pastor and the stuff that he's got going on, especially over on Substack, writing some interesting articles. But before we get any further into what we're actually going to talk about in regards to this. I wanted us to have an idea of what is All Saints Day, especially in the United Methodist system that we are a part of, and that we kind of bring with us into this. So we're going to watch a quick video from United Methodist Communications about what is or why do we observe All Saints Day, and how have we done it historically. So enjoy this quick video. Oops. Well, there was absolutely supposed to be sound during that, so I apologize that there was no sound. Hopefully, you all got a chance to read it. If you didn't, here, maybe I can just play it again for us and read it along myself. A day to reflect on our history and remember those who have influenced our faith. These formers of our faith might have lived thousands of years ago, or we might sit next to them at church on Sunday mornings. United Methodists do not elect or pray to saints. We call these people saints because they exemplify the Christian life. In this sense, every Christian can be considered a saint. Churches often observe All Saints' Day with special worship services. We might light candles, ring bells, or share the names of those who have nurtured our faith. We also consider how we can share the gospel with others, just as it was shared with us. Let us give thanks for the saints and their holy way of living. May we follow their example and strive to become a saint ourselves. Okay, so there you go. That's a little explanation on what All Saints Day is for us. So traditionally, this comes from a larger system, right, of literal saints in like the Catholic Church and that Catholic movement and expression of the church in which people are elevated into a sense of sainthood. And we have a huge list of those peoples and the reason that they have been put into those spaces. But in the United Methodist Church, we don't necessarily recognize saints in the same way. But we do recognize nonetheless, like the communion of saints. It's a part of our creedal statements. And so by the communion of saints, what we mean is the gathered body of believers, both here in the church militant as well as in the church triumphant, which is a way of saying those who have already gone before. And so we acknowledge the saints of today and the saints of the past. There's a lot that goes into this in churches that I've been in. Some churches have done really nothing. Some churches have done like a video of like in memoriam. Some people will do candles in which you have like a bunch of candles up at the front of the sanctuary, maybe on like an altar, and you light them for whoever you might be honoring. There's all sorts of different ways that this is kind of observed. So I'd be interested to hear in the chat if you have observed All Saints Day, or if your church observes it. What does that look like for y'all? Yeah, I'll ask T-Bone and GGC. Have y'all ever observed All Saints Day? Do you have any experiences with it before we talk about the media behind it?
No, this is the first time I ever even heard of it.
So I have definitely heard of it. I have observed it multiple times. Most commonly, it has been lighting a candle for those who have passed within the past year. And then I really appreciated at some of the churches I've attended that it has been all of those who are members within the last year that have passed. And then there's an opportunity if you wanted to come up and light one for someone specific to you. You could do that. And then there was also one that was lit as just a silent recognition of all of those who had passed.
Gotcha. Yeah. So there's a lot of different experiences that we have with it. And everybody either has some experience with it that is varied or they have absolutely none, because it's not something, like we said, that often is even spoken of. But of course, we may or may not be aware of this, but this is a part of what Halloween is. There's a reason that it's the first day of November. Halloween itself is right. Halloween, it's the evening of Hallows, which is the eve of All Hallows, which is All Saints Day, which is All Hallows Day. And so this is a time where we ignore the holy people. We talk about the holy people around us. A part of this that leans into the Methodist tradition is the word itself, tradition. So in this concept, this framework that we have called the Wesleyan Quadrilateral, one of the four is tradition, in which we look at our history. We look at the things that have formed us and that we're bringing with us into the present. And I think that a part of tradition and a part of our history that we're forming and that we're shaping takes the place of media and of the things that we experience through art. And I think that our modern art, the things that we're experiencing today, can be video games, anime, the things that we're talking about. Hence why I think Checkpoint is so important in this particular day and time. And so what I wanted us to think about for just a moment was have a conversation around some like video games or anime or things like that that are living with us, that are doing things in us and through us, or that are honoring this kind of concept of All Saints Day. And so there we have a list of a couple to go through, but I wanted to call out that we have some nerdy sermons about this theme. So we have one nerdy sermon that is The Wreck, which is a indie game in which this person is visiting with their dying mother and recalling a horrific wreck that happened. And they are burying a lot of these memories, burying a lot of these things that are weighing them down. But as the story is told, as things are unfolded, and as the memory is brought back, they are able to work through some of the trauma that they are dealing with. So that's a really pivotal nerdy sermon that I would recommend if you're curious about this kind of honoring the past in a respectful way, especially the trauma in our past. Another good example of this, I mentioned the phrase communion of saints, and what that has to do with is that we really do believe that when we are in communion, we were in a time of worship, that there is more than just the people gathered, that all are gathered in the church triumphant with us as well. And a really powerful echo of this was drawn out in the Fire Emblem game from a couple years ago. So we have a nerdy sermon called Fire Emblem Engage. And that is one that talks a little bit more about this theme of the communion of saints. And then an interesting one, I put this on the list, even though it's kind of almost saying the opposite of what I want to say. And that is 1000 times resist. We have a nerdy sermon on that one. And if you don't know the principal theme of that game, this is talking about how we can pervert our tradition. So how we can lift up people that maybe shouldn't be lifted up, and how a little white lie can be passed down through generation to generation until somebody comes in and overthrows that form of tradition. So kind of the opposite of what I'm wanting to say, but I think the church has some skeletons in our closet. I think that goes without saying. And so like an interesting thing for us to talk about is how can we root out some of the evil in our tradition and the evil in our history while also honoring the good and the holy and the formation that has happened in our history. So those are 3 nerdy sermons that I will throw your way if you're curious about learning more about this topic before we work through some of the other forms of media. With that, I'm going to stop talking for just a second, and either T-Bone, DGC, whoever that has one. I know I see T-Bone has a couple here. If you want to go ahead and drop those, and then we'll see what DGC has to offer as well.
Yeah, so one of them that came to mind was unpacking, because it's the scrapbook of your life throughout and how you're unpacking all of these memories and what is to come as well. And for me personally, that was the first game that I 100%ed and helped me realize that like it was okay to be a nerd and to be excited about this and play games. And so that holds a really special place for me with my identity. But it was all about learning from the past in order to move forward. And then that theme is also represented in Cozy Grove, which is you are a spirit scout, and your job is to meet these restless spirits and help them with whatever is making them restless. And so you learn more about their lives as you continue. And about their different personalities that make them who they are. But at the same time, as you gather more spirits, there's more to do on the island. And there is more to explore and understand, and there's more interconnectivity between them as well. And so having those memories that you collect is actually a good thing because it helps you move forward and keep learning and growing, because as you help the spirits, you also grow as well yourself. And you're trapped on this island, and so the only way to get off is to help all of these spirits, and you just keep finding more spirits throughout it. And so the island keeps growing, and I feel like we keep growing as well, and that definitely resonates with me.
Love it. DGC, any insight here?
Yeah, there's definitely a few that come to mind. Midnight Ramen, Amori, Xenoblade 3. Those are just a few.
Yeah, Xenoblade's an interesting one there for sure. We do have a nerdy sermon on Xenoblade 3 as well. But yeah.
In the chat, Little Miss Lizzie recognized Undertale and Spiritfarer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had Spiritfarer on the list for sure. That's like a dead giveaway for sure, of like one that talks a lot about the importance of life and death, and of honoring death in a really powerful way. And so I think that's, yeah, for sure. I actually did not have Undertale on the list for once, which is a big deal. Lizzie, you called out Undertale before I did, so that's huge. But yeah, Undertale is definitely one where we talk about the formation of people and of things and of community around people. Of course, building friendships and relationships. Another thing that I would for sure call out would be Final Fantasy X. Really, any Final Fantasy game, but Final Fantasy X I think is one that does it really well, bringing in a lot of history and the people that came before us. Yuna being right, like this essentially kind of Spiritfarer as well, sort of somebody ferrying on souls into the afterlife. That's something that I think resonates with people. And then there was these two that are like more game concepts than any kind of like narrative concepts. And that is this concept really brought about by Journey, which is a really popular indie game, very famous indie game, but also popularized by like Dark Souls and Elden Ring, which is in a game where there is online connectivity, people will leave tips and tricks and advice throughout the world. So like whenever there's like a tricky puzzle, they'll leave advice for people, and you can go and check their like speech bubble or whatever things they've left behind, and get some insight into it. And that's a really interesting concept that we don't get very often in real life, but that video games deliver to us really well. Is like we can give messages to other people that experience the same world that we do, even though we're not still there, which is a weird like transcendent metaphysical kind of reality for how we connect with one another. And then the other one is literally our Minecraft server. I was just thinking about it because somebody dropped in the Minecraft server chat. So we have a Minecraft realm at Checkpoint that we've had since 2020, and somebody was like, "Hey, what if should we start over?" And I had actually had a conversation with Teeny Christina P, who is one of our like main people who got us into Minecraft. And I was like, what if we did that? And she was like, yeah, I think maybe we should talk about that and explore it. But at the same time, I'm a little sad. And I think that if and when we do that, we will have to go revisit our Minecraft realm, because there is so much spirit in that place. And I mean that in like a lowercase s spirit. Like there is so much residual us, which is such a weird concept, but there is so much us that is there. There's so many memories and moments and houses, so many houses left behind by me in particular. Just multiple houses that I build every time I log on. There is this incredibly, if you've never been to our Minecraft realm, there's this incredibly impressive project that Chris put on in the very first year of building this checkpoint church that has all this purple themes and amethyst glass and all this cool stuff in it. And like, that's an interesting concept as well, to the work that we've done in the spaces that we've been. If you're an Animal Crossing fan, like your island is a sort of example of this, of work that came before, even if that work is from you. So I found this to be a really interesting exercise, and I would encourage you all to think through it in the chat, or if you're watching this VOD after the fact, of like, who are the saints who have come before? Who are the saints that you're building community with now? What do they mean for you, and where are you finding them? I think that in art is an interesting question, but also just around you, if you want to get a bit more big picture with it. I look forward to hearing you guys unpack that. If you want to unpack it with us further, join our Discord. We're going to have a forum post for this episode of the podcast. We would love to continue to hear your thoughts on it as the week goes on. But with that, we're going to work towards the end of the show with our call to action, which is, how have you checkpointed this week? We're trying to make it a verb, y'all. We're doing our best. How did you checkpoint this week? The three of us are going to answer, and I look forward to hearing your answers as well. I will kick us off this time. How did I checkpoint this week? I actually joined not one, but 2 Discord servers this week, which is unique for me. I often join a server just for the purpose of either learning from it or just getting a perk or reward because so many people will tie them to their rewards in games. But this time I joined one that is meant for just like good old fashioned creative community. And I joined Prof Noctis's because I realized I was not a part of it yet. And so I joined two Discord servers this week just to engage and be a part of their community. And I'm kind of offering a bit of myself. I may or may not have already told them about Storygraph. If I can evangelize the goodness that is Storygraph with the world, I will do so. So yeah, that's been my checkpointing this week. DGC, how about you?
Continuing to help out with today's checkpoint whenever I can. Possibly be hosting the upcoming anime club if no one else is going to be playing too. And then continuing to do the anti-book study.
Nice.
And then of course helping out here.
All right, T-Bone.
For me, I helped with behind the scenes of the anti-book study, and then I also did a lot of self-care this week. And I think that's checkpointing because it's a reminder that I am a valid person of worth and I deserve to care for myself, which is something that I struggle with. And so I did a lot of resting and recognizing when my body needed a break.
Love that. Absolutely valid and important to our message that you matter is integrated within there well. And of course, we will be checkpointing tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So join us for some Mana and Mingle time. We'll get together, play some games, and observe communion at the hour mark. We would love to welcome you here for that. Love to have you a part of that over on our Discord server. If you're watching this after the fact, we do that every Sunday, 8 o'clock, and then 9 o'clock communion. Would love to have you join us for any part of that. But with that, we're going to wrap this one up. Thanks for being a part of the Checkpoint Church podcast, for checking it out and engaging in the chat and being a part of the VOD or watching in the chat. We're glad you're here as well, VOD watchers. but we're going to wrap up with our 3 things that we believe to be true about every single one of you out there. Whether you believe in God, don't believe in God, go to church, don't go to church, or call Checkpoint Church your church. We're glad that you're here, and we believe these 3 things to be true about you. Number 1, we believe that God loves you, like really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you. We want community with you. That's why we do things like this podcast together. And then number 3, we believe that you, yes, you matter. You're a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Shouts out to T-Bone and DGC for being our guest co-host this week. Appreciate your time and appreciate everybody being here. And we will catch you all on the next one. Till next time,